Live from KTTC, your weather authority. This is KTTC News at 10.
One of us led the opposition to disastrous trade agreements which cost us millions of good-paying jobs. And that's me.
Tell that to the folks in Virginia, North Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Minnesota.
Good evening and thank you for joining us as we continue to watch results come in on this Super Tuesday. It's proven to be quite a night for former Vice President Joe Biden.
Boy, I'd say he is one of two frontrunners in the Democratic race for the nomination, along with, of course, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. So here in Minnesota right now, we have 75 delegates at stake. Joe Biden has won Minnesota, claiming an estimated 14 delegates, crediting Senator Amy Klobuchar for her support in a speech that we heard earlier tonight.
And we have team coverage at watch parties for both of these leaders. Maria Bray will join us from St. Paul with the Sanders campaign.
But first, let's check in with our Zach Fuller, who is at a watch party for tonight's winner here in the land of 10,000 lakes. Zach.
Well, good evening, Tom and Caitlin, and I'm standing here at a buzzing LC's in Minneapolis as cheers erupted earlier today when they found out that Joe Biden has now won the state of Minnesota, and that the former vice president is riding a huge momentum wave at the moment, claiming victories in 5 states so far, with North Carolina and Virginia coming by big margins, and Minnesota Biden representatives tells me this is all according to plan.
And then having Senator Klobuchar endorse our campaign was such a huge boost. Everything just seemed to come in place at the right time. But I will say that this is the way that we were looking at it. We knew that doing well in Nevada and winning South Carolina would give us what we needed going into Super Tuesday. And let's be real here. We have the least amount of money of any other campaign. We had to be very smart with our resources. And I think right now you're seeing a campaign that figured out the best way to spend money and get the most bang for our buck.
And I do want to correct something. He has won 7 states, with Massachusetts just being called. That should make it an 8. And at last check, Biden is sitting at 309 projected delegates, giving him, at last check, a 104 delegate lead after starting 7 behind on the day over Bernie Sanders. But we still don't have results from big states like Texas and California, who combined carry 643 delegates. And we will keep you up to date throughout this telecast, and we will also keep you up to date on our website, KTTC.com. For now, reporting live in Minneapolis, Zach Fuller, KTTC News.
Thanks, Zach. And we've been mentioning Biden's biggest competition is Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. He has been a front runner for most of the 2020 race.
Well, tonight was no different, with him getting a good chunk of delegates, including his home state of Vermont, also Colorado. Earlier tonight, our Maria Bray has been at one of his watch parties and joins us now with an update. Good evening, Maria.
People are glued to that TV monitor behind me that's showing the results. But although that Sanders did not win in Minnesota, people here are still hopeful. Some of the supporters I talked to say Sanders is their top pick because he really cares about issues that impact Americans the most. They say his Medicare for All approach and free tuition are great policies. Many of them say the time is now for a change in the White House administration. One man says Sanders has been his top pick and hopes he goes far in the election.
I don't think it's bad. I mean, I guess if I had a second well, I like Elizabeth Warren a lot, but Biden probably would be my second choice because Elizabeth's so far behind. So I don't feel necessarily bad about that. I hope Bernie has got a strong finish.
Sanders supporters have not held back their cheers and boos throughout the night. When Bernie spoke, supporters listened hard and still believe he is the best candidate. Now, although he lost in Minnesota, it's still too early to call it a night, as we have not got results from big states like California and Texas. Reporting live in St. Paul, I'm Maria Bray, KTTC News.
Thanks, Maria. But we did just get word in just moments ago. Bernie Sanders has won the Democratic presidential primary in California. This, of course, is a projection. We hope to have numbers for you very soon. But that is a big win for the Sanders campaign.
A lot of
tonight.
delegates there for sure. We're going to take a quick, brief look away from the election tonight and head outdoors to our weather patio with meteorologist Nick Jansen. What are conditions like out there right now, Nick?
Hey, good evening, guys. A little breezy so far tonight here out on the weather patio. Temperatures staying fairly steady, right at 32 degrees as of now in Rochester. But we'll deal with temperatures dropping down throughout the overnight hours. We'll take a look at our Lewis and Otto live camera here right along Highway 52. Temperatures in Rochester at 32 degrees. It's a little breezy, though. Those winds out of the west at about 12 miles per hour. Tracking some light snowfall, even the chances for a little bit of rain, a little bit of a rain-snow mix, mainly to the south of I-90. That's pretty much where the track will stay at tonight. So I think most of us here in southeast Minnesota will miss out on the chance for some light snow tonight. Temperatures, though, even in Mason City, still sit mid to even upper 30s in some areas in Sarasota County. So for the most part, I think a lot of that precipitation will be falling as rain through the next several hours. So we look at those current temperatures. It's 37 in Mason City. So any type of precipitation down at the surface, it's melting and falling as liquid. So we're dealing with some showers in Mason City and through Charles City as well. Almanac from today, 38 degrees for the high in Rochester today. That's above normal for this time of year. Tomorrow, we'll continue to deal with those above normal temperatures as we're right back upper 30s to lower 40s for those highs. A chance for a little bit of rain snow mix tonight. Could see some showers on the way throughout to the weekend as well with even warmer temperatures. Your Weather Authority forecast coming up in just a couple minutes. Back to you.
Nick, thank you. And so we're going to take a look at some of the results so far on this Super Tuesday. Joe Biden is the big winner in Alabama, a state with 52 delegates there.
Joe Biden is also the projected winner of Arkansas, a state that has 31 delegates. You can see he's got 35% of the vote there.
And in Massachusetts, of course, Elizabeth Warren's home state with 91 delegates. Joe Biden is the winner, projected winner in Massachusetts as well.
Now on to North Carolina. You can see that Joe Biden has 41% of the vote with 83% of precincts reporting there.
And Joe Biden is the projected winner in Oklahoma with 38% of the votes there. 4 delegates allocated to him.
Now on to Tennessee. Joe Biden, the projected winner there. Tennessee has 64 delegates, by the way.
And in the fine state of Texas, Bernie Sanders is ahead with 29% against Biden's 25%. A state rich with delegates as well, 228 delegates in Texas.
We did learn about this victory quite early in the night. This one was no surprise. Bernie Sanders won his home state of Vermont. That has 16 delegates up for grabs there.
Also another early victory, Joe Biden taking Virginia with 48 delegates. The state has a total of 99 delegates in that state. Our political analyst Chad Israelson joins us in a moment to unpack what has been happening tonight on Super Tuesday.
It's been a very busy night. Yeah. Joe Biden has had a great night with Amy Klobuchar's endorsement, what it meant for him here in Minnesota.
KTTC, your weather authority, with Tom Overley, Caitlin Alexander, Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen, and sports with Pat Lund. KTTC News at 10 continues.
Welcome back to our Super Tuesday coverage. It's been a night full of results, with some being quite surprising.
Yeah, what a fascinating evening for sure. A longtime political analyst, Chad Israelson, joins us once again. So 48 hours ago, it was really supposed to be all about Bernie Sanders and maybe Joe Biden not so much, and look at the flip.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, in politics, there's a fair amount of predictability, but what's been playing out tonight has really been surprising. Joe Biden got obviously a bounce from South Carolina, right, and then, of course, the endorsements of Buttigieg and closer to home, Amy Klobuchar.
And speaking of Amy Klobuchar, he called her out during his speech earlier tonight, crediting her with that victory in Minnesota. We really weren't expecting this result in Minnesota tonight.
No, absolutely not. When we look at what Sanders did in Minnesota 4 years ago, you look at sort of the type of politician that Sanders is, I would have counted that as one of the most likely wins tonight was Sanders in Minnesota. But obviously the strength of Amy Klobuchar, as you mentioned, helped bring Biden along. And so, Biden won a very big victory here.
And can we see those Olmsted County numbers as well while we're talking about Minnesota? Joe Biden winning by quite a margin here with 40% of precincts reporting in Olmsted County.
And touching briefly on California, those numbers just came in. Bernie Sanders wins California, but that does not necessarily mean he's going to take all the delegates. We won't know that, in fact, for a couple of days. Some people are projecting we may not know until Friday who gets what delegate count.
Right, yeah, it's all proportional. So part of it is going to be, does Elizabeth Warren hit 15%? Yeah. Does Mike Bloomberg hit 15%? And so the swing that we're talking about could be anywhere from Sanders getting maybe 40% of the delegates to 60% of the delegates in California. So it's up in the air. There's a long ways to go. Biden's got an enormous amount of momentum coming out of tonight. Yeah. However, we're a long way from the finish line.
Yeah, November is still quite a ways away.
Well, that too, yes.
It's always really fun to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
During
thank
the
you
political season and getting your insights. So thank you so much,
Thanks for being here all night long.
We appreciate it. And Amy Klobuchar suspended her campaign yesterday. It appears to have led to a nice boost for Joe Biden in Minnesota. So what's next?
Plus a look at the other day's news and the death toll that's rising in Tennessee after a massive tornado sweeps through.
And quiet conditions will dominate the forecast throughout the next several days. We'll have some chances for light snow tonight, but then quiet as we head through the rest of the week. Maybe the 50s in the forecast for 2 consecutive days. We'll tell you about that in the Weather Authority forecast right after this.
Welcome back. It remains to be seen what impact the end of Senator Klobuchar's campaign and subsequent Biden endorsement will have on the race for the White House.
Klobuchar's campaign started in the middle of a Minnesota snowstorm and then ended Monday yesterday in Texas. With Klobuchar's White House bid over, what is next for the Minnesota senator? RCTC history instructor Chad Israelson says she is on the short list to become Biden's vice president, if not definitely a cabinet member.
I wouldn't be shocked at all to see her as something like Attorney General. You look at her law background and what she did prior to becoming a senator. I wouldn't be surprised potentially as a Secretary of State.
Israelson says it's too early for any Democratic candidate to be choosing their cabinet members officially. And Klobuchar was leading here in Minnesota in various polls before ending her campaign.
KTTC's Alex Tejada spoke with voters here in Rochester who had to pick a new candidate on such a short notice. And Alex, what did you find out?
Tom, Caitlin, with only one Republican name on the primary, all the focus in Minnesota was on the DFL side. Senator Amy Klobuchar's exit from the race shook some things up, but voters still came out to pick their favorite remaining in the field.
Everyone, get out and vote. It's easy. Everyone should be doing it.
That's the kind of way I look at it. I'm a history teacher. I told my students today that it's your civic duty.
Those who exercised that duty had some tough decisions to make as more candidates have dropped out this week, including Pete Buttigieg and Minnesota's own Amy Klobuchar.
It's changed a lot. The person I voted for, I think is a great person, and I have confidence they'll do good things, but it's not the primary person that I was planning on voting for as of even just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I have a couple of times. In fact, I can't say that I really knew who I was going to vote for probably until this morning.
And I just made my mind up today too.
The constantly changing field requires voters to stay educated.
I did some research, really looked at the talking points and the issues that they stand on, and kind of went from there.
It's good to keep up with what they plan on doing. I've been watching every debate and trying to follow what they're even saying on Twitter or what appearances they're making.
And whether you have a new polling place,
just changed my address not too long ago, but they were able to take care of everything else for you, so it wasn't too difficult.
Or just need to figure it out. Voting does not require you to travel too far.
5 blocks, 6 blocks, something like that. I mean, if you can spell your name and fill in a dot, you can vote.
I think it's a cool responsibility that we've got, and it's a cool freedom that we've got.
An Olmsted County election staff did not allow voters to change their selection if they voted early for Klobuchar or Pete Buttigieg, who also dropped out of the race. The deadline to change that vote was February the 24th. Live in the studio, Alex Tejada, KTTC News.
We're tracking the possibility for some light snow impacting northeast Iowa and even some portions of southeast Minnesota here tonight. That's leading our weather headlines. A little bit of a wintry mix tonight. We'll be clearing out by early tomorrow morning, so the light precipitation tonight should not impact our morning commute for Wednesday. And we're looking at 50s possible for the upcoming weekend. Outside here in Rochester, so far so quiet, 32 degrees. In Rochester, Lewis on a live camera. Traffic moving nicely late tonight here on Highway 52. Winds a little breezy, though, out of the west at about 12 miles per hour. So as we check in satellite radar, notice not even much cloud cover in southeast Minnesota. Everything staying just to the south of I-90. We have this Clipper system, this wave of energy moving through, and again, pretty much I-90, the dividing line between seeing potentially clear skies and the chance for some light snow, even some drizzly conditions, because temperatures at the surface in Mason City still right at 35 to 37 degrees. So even though satellite radar is showing some snowfall, most of that precipitation, if it's making it all the way down to the ground, falling as liquid, dealing with some drizzly and some light showers as of now through Mason City, through portions of Charles City and into Decorah. So we'll deal with this little disturbance throughout the overnight hours tonight, mainly right along Highway 18 through northeast Iowa. So right through Algona, right through Mason City, Charles City, and eventually into Decorah. System moves quickly. Futurecast has it out of northeast Iowa by early Wednesday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Potentially dry and quiet by that point in time. That's great news for the morning commute, meaning everything should be smooth sailing. Could run into a couple slick spots, but we're not dealing with any type of precipitation early Wednesday morning. Now temperatures warm right back up, upper 30s to potentially lower 40s for highs on your Wednesday. It only gets better from there as well through the next several days. We deal with another wave of energy, bringing in some light showers early Thursday morning. For the most part, right around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So early in the morning, deal with some showers. Notice temperatures upper 30s, so shouldn't have to deal with the wintry precipitation. Just a cold rain moving through early on Thursday. Temperatures will start out lower 30s. We'll be right back into the lower 40s. Some breezy westerly winds, though, behind that frontal boundary. Main impacts for tonight, staying south of I-90. Timing-wise, pretty much done with most of the snowfall by midnight tonight. So can snowfall likely south of I-90. Some slick spots will be possible. Main impacts, we have to get those temperatures to drop down near freezing to deal with the snowfall in places like Mason City. I think we still have the potential of anywhere from about a dusting to about a ½ inch to an inch in some isolated areas. Rochester, we miss out on it as we head throughout the overnight hours tonight. 26 for the overnight low tonight. Evening snow still possible, again, south of I-90 for tonight. Tomorrow, 40. We'll have some partly sunny skies. Clouds build back into the forecast late Wednesday into your early Thursday. That's when we deal with a chance for some light showers. Again, showers, not necessarily dealing with snowfall coming up into your Thursday. 40 on Friday, 51 Saturday, 56, actually up the temperatures for your Sunday. I think we could have some 60s possible.
That forecast bumped it a little tinge on Sunday.
Yeah, bumped it up a little bit. The latest model runs a little warmer. I think we get really strong southwesterly winds, and that can really help our temperatures out. I think northeast Iowa could have a chance at some 60s.
Have we seen that in the past for this time of year, like almost 60 degrees in early March?
It's a rarity. It has happened before.
But it
is a rarity, but we have to date all the way back to October 26th. For the last time that we had 50 degrees here in Rochester. So it's a rarity. We'll see if we can get closer. We'll have to check in on that forecast throughout the rest of the week. See, maybe we get close to 60 here in Rochester.
The one certainty is Nick will be wearing shorts on Sunday.
Of course.
Yes.
For sure.
That's what I figured.
He wears
Thank
shorts
you,
all
Nick.
the time.
Yes.
Well, a heartbreak to our south tonight, as there are now at least 25 deaths confirmed following multiple tornadoes in Tennessee.
A report on the devastation and the search for survivors that's coming up.
At least 25 people are dead, and the search for more people buried in the rubble of collapsed homes and buildings is underway.
As after a powerful tornado tore through parts of Tennessee, Camilla Burnell is on the ground in Nashville with the latest.
Piles of rubble and the devastation of buildings and neighborhoods, that behind every pile really represents people. It's businesses that have lost, it's families that are hurting. It's people that have really seen the destruction of this.
A powerful tornado leaving entire communities leveled in Tennessee. The storm striking under the cover of darkness, leaving behind a trail of carnage in the middle of the night. Tennessee's governor says the people of his state need hope more than anything else.
I talked to a person today who had lost everything that they owned completely. They're, walking through rubble trying to find the last pieces of what they owned. And they had previously, earlier in the day, been called upon to identify bodies of victims.
The National Guard has also been deployed to help search for people who might be buried in the devastation.
There are missing people. There are still people that are unaccounted for.
And President Trump is planning to witness the loss firsthand on Friday.
Our hearts are full of sorrow for the lives that were lost. It's a vicious thing, those tornadoes.
In Nashville, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Well, the gravity of it when you see those photos, it's
Absolutely.
really significant.
Heartbreaking.
Well, the Timberwolves were in New Orleans tonight, plus the Hawkeyes hosted the Boilers. Sports is coming up.
And there was more Section boys basketball tonight. A pair of games were played in Rochester. Pat Lund has the latest when we return.
The section playoffs started for Class 3A and 4A tonight with a pair of games taking place in Rochester. Crosstown matchup at Century in a 3-6 showdown. Jimmy Daly's 6th-seeded JM Rockets at 3-seeded Century. Panthers beat the Rockets twice during the regular season. They'd have to do it without Jack Fisher, who was out with the flu. Peter Lynch on the strong move there. Both teams struggling to score, but this is a nice hoop by JM's Jacob Dang. Look at the drive, the soft one-handed kiss off the glass. Rockets down 7 late first half. Century's Mark Leonard looking to make something happen. The 6'5 senior works inside for the lay-in. Panthers with a 20-14 halftime lead. Second half, the Panthers would extend that lead. Leonard needed to pick up his game with the absence of Fisher. He did. He finished with 19. Rockets couldn't generate much offense. Century would take advantage. Carter Proud being a factor on that play. As Century advances to Saturday's semis, 59-41 the final. 7th-seeded Northfield Raiders were in Rochester to face the number 2 seed Mayo Spartans. Good start for Sparty, jumping out to a 10-0 lead. Mason Madsen with the sweet little finish off the feed from his brother. Speaking of his brother, Gabe Madsen is open from beyond the arc. He drops the 3 ball from the top of the key. Mayo's Michael Sharp continues to hit big shots for Mayo. He's not afraid to hoist up the triple. Right there, nothing but the bottom from beyond the arc. Northfield eventually got their offense going. Karsten Clay works his way open, hits the tough shot, but the Spartans were too much. Michael Sharp once again steps up, drops 10-foot jumpers. Mayo moves into the section semis versus Century Saturday night. 99-82 your final. In the semifinals on the other side of the bracket, top-seeded Lakeville South will host Owatonna on Saturday night. The Huskies won a battle over Farmington. 3A quarters tipped at Byron. 4th-seeded Bears hosted 5th-seeded Castle-Manaville. Byron swept the Comets during the regular season. Out of the gate, Bears mean business. Great pass down the baseline. Ends with Trent DeCook down low for the power deuce. KM on the return. Tyler Wolfile with the bounce to Easton Knoll in stride for the conversion off the glass. 3-point game, Bears in front. Here comes the walking bucket. Jake Broughton behind the back down the lane, and that's what you call air Broughton. That was nice. Things would heat up. Comets with the chance to steal, but Bears wouldn't let up. Here comes Broughton once again. This time drops another one. The Byron Bears will get a crack at the 3-time defending section champion Austin Packers on Saturday night in Austin. Bears by 20 tonight. Packers cruise over Red Wing. Other side, Simley will travel to Albert Lee on Saturday night. The Tigers with a 77-61 victory over the Falcons. Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans hosted the T-Wolves tonight. Zion, he's been really good since he started to play coming off that knee injury. Williamson with 25 points. The Pels, for most of this game, led. James Johnson gets free for the dunk. Minnesota down 7 in the third quarter, but they'd rally to win. They are now 3-20 in their last 23 games. Malik Beasley led the way with 28 points in Minnesota's 139-134 win. Kevin Fiala scored for the 5th straight game for the Minnesota Wild as they defeated Nashville 3-1 to pass the Preds in the Western Conference playoff chase. Luke Cunnan and Zach Parisi also had goals tonight in the 3-1 victory. Purdue beat the Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa City tonight 77-68. There you go.
Any thoughts on the Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden?
I didn't see a thing tonight.
He goes in the sports office and closes the door.
And none of the games started till 8 o'clock because of the caucuses when the polls closed. So everything started. So I had to do 2 hours of work in an hour tonight. So
It was a busy sports night.
It was kind of weird.
We'll wrap it up in a moment.
Republicans have the elephant, Democrats have the donkey. Who's got the goat?
Well, on Chico State University's campus in California, they are nonpartisan. Goats roam part of the campus on Super Tuesday as part of the school's Cast Your Vote, Pet a Goat campaign. It's just a way to encourage people to get out there and to make their voices heard. And why wouldn't you cast a ballot if doing so gets you the chance to pet one of these little guys? Aren't they cute? Also, voter apathy is bad.
You can do better than that. Bad. There it is.
Choking on my
Did
throat.
we have a story on goat yoga over the weekend? I think I saw that on Saturday.
We love our goats here at KTTC.
I like baby goats.
Pat, did you know that's actually National Buy Your Wife a Goat Day? Maybe you can.
Is it?
Nah, I just made that.
I was gonna say,
you
everything
did.
is national day, it seems. So, well, on that happy note, thanks for watching us on the Super Tuesday as well.
Thanks for following us throughout the entire night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good night.